And of course, you can check them out, which I highly suggest you do, at hardyhar.com.
John Fogerty's got to be proud of those two, huh?
Oh, amazingly so. I got to talk to him, and he very much is proud of them.
One day we got to get John into one of our live shows and have him play for me when I sing, huh?
We'll see if we can wrangle him down.
Because on May 27th, we're going to be at the Dalles in Oregon.
We sure are. May 27th at the Granada Theater in the Dalles, Oregon. It's about 84 miles east from Portland. 3 guests that night: Dr. Sky, Stephen Cates, UFO abductee Travis Walton, and from Animal Planet, Bigfoot hunter Matt Moneymaker. These are such fun shows. It's a fun night. We'll include a live band, a salute to our veterans. We'll do a meet and greet and some other surprises for you. So if you're interested, and you should be, head over to coasttocoastam.com, and Lex has got all that info right up there in the carousel.
Looking forward to it, and it's coming up really fast. Now build up your immune system.
HealthyLooking.com and Dr. Alan Millay bring 4 decades of experience in natural products for the exclusive stem cell wellness kit that works with your body's stem cells to assist your immune system. Here's Dr. Millay with more.
Whether it's physical activity, obesity, diet, smoking, low on hormones, stress, sleep disorders, or your age, can be supported by reducing inflammation and aiding the body to heal itself appropriately. A stem cell is a cell waiting to be told what it needs to be. If there is inflammation, that inflammation needs to be stopped. High blood pressure, high cholesterol, kidney disease, various types of cancer, depression, Alzheimer's disease, autoimmune disorders, osteoporosis, even fatty liver are chronic signs of inflammation and can be aided by supporting the body's ability to protect those cells that it needs. And that is the purpose of ImmuStem and AdaptoStem together, supporting the body to be the best it can be.
Dr. Millay, how will I feel after taking AdaptoStem and ImmuStem?
The ImmuStem is going to have an immediate effect, but I tell you, your immune system is starting to function better after 24 hours. You put AdaptoStem along with it, and most will feel it within 30 minutes.
Order now at HealthyLooking.com. The Stem Cell Wellness Kit from Dr. Millay protects your body's stem cells and will make you feel better faster. The Stem Cell Wellness Kit with AdaptoStem and ImmuStem and your free gift Relaxol is only available at HealthyLooking.com or toll free at 800-563-3980. That's 800-563-3980. Don't forget to enter promo code George for free shipping. George's Stem Cell Wellness Kit at HealthyLooking.com. That's HealthyLooking.com.
There's no sign of identity theft slowing down, and why should it? More than $14 billion were stolen from identity theft victims last year alone. To cyber criminals, it's a success story. To the rest of us, it's a wake-up call. Your personal info is in more places now than ever, and all that exposure can make it dangerously easy to steal your identity. LifeLock by Norton makes it easy to help protect yourself by monitoring your identity and alerting you to threats you could miss on your own. If you become a victim of identity theft, a U.S.-based LifeLock restoration specialist will be dedicated to your case and work to fix it. No one can prevent all identity theft or monitor all transactions at all businesses, but everyone can save up to 25% off their first year by calling 1-800-LifeLock or to go to lifelock.com and use promo code George. That's promo code George to save up to 25% off your first year. 1-800-LifeLock or lifelock.com. Promo code George.
What if you could build a 6-figure retirement income with almost half the money saved? You heard that right. Get a discount on your retirement, creating a 6-figure income with 40% less than traditional 401ks and mutual funds. Hi, I'm Brett Kitchen, best-selling author and star in a new Hollywood documentary called The Baby Boomer Dilemma. In this film, economists and Nobel Prize-winning PhDs from Wharton, MIT, and Stanford share a strange concept I call the retirement discount. It gives you more retirement income with the same dollars saved, and your money is never at risk if the market crashes. That's right. If the market crashes 30%, you lose nothing. Even people who are on track have shifted money to this new strategy because it increases their retirement income or can allow them to stop working years sooner. So if you're over 50 and want a bigger, better retirement with less money, call to get a free copy of this brand new movie, The Baby Boomer Dilemma, at 1-800-506-2020. This is a $30 value, but when you call today, you'll get it completely free, plus 2 hours of bonus behind-the-scenes footage. I'll even cover shipping and handling, no credit card required. So don't delay, call right now, 1-800-506-2020. That's 1-800-506-2020, 1-800-506-2020.
Welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you. Leslie McGurk with us. Leslie's website is her name, linked up at coasttocoastam.com. We will take calls next hour with Leslie. Questions on astrology, or if you want a reading, provide your birth date to our staff, and I will pass that on to her, and she will ask you to give her a specific question, and then she'll go from there. Leslie, you're an expert in astrology and health-related matters. What other areas can you use astrology in?
I think that astrology is most useful for any issues having to do with trauma and mental health issues, because when I can see the patterns of why a person is the way that they are, then there's always a way to figure out the remedy or a way to recalibrate the person, because we are exactly the same as a car with an owner's manual. The astrology chart is the same as what's in our glove compartments. It doesn't tell us what's going to happen to the car because you're the driver. You can do whatever you want with it. But the owner's manual tells you how everything is designed and the best way to operate that vehicle. So astrology, when done correctly, is extremely accurate in describing the wiring system of a human being, and it can help with many things, whether it's family issues. I'm also working with people in the corporate world, helping individuals who need to hire folks. Like, how do you make sure you get the right person for the right job? I cannot imagine hiring people without knowing their astrology chart. Some people present really well, but they have other underlying issues that you wouldn't normally see from a resume or from an interview. And that's where astrology is just so potent. And not only do you need to know about the wiring of that person that you might hire, but you also need to know how do they match with you. And so there are many levels of where astrology can be useful, and it's all about doing it with a deep level of compassion and realizing that people have free will and that there is no bad wiring system. There are just some wiring systems that are much more difficult than others, but the ones that are the most difficult are often the charts of people who have extraordinary gifts. They're brilliant at something, but they've had to go through some difficult challenges. I would say that the charts that are super easy and lovely and pleasant, those types of people don't usually make a big mark on the world. It's the difficulties that we go through that actually make us interesting, and it's like having muscles rather than just flabbiness everywhere.
Yeah.
There's something beautiful about overcoming things, and I think an astrologer can help with people understanding how to get to the highest vibration of what they were designed to do. And it can save so much money and so much aggravation if you can get in a 1-hour session the sense that there is a purpose to your life, and there's an easy way to do your life, and there's also a clunky, difficult way to do it. And my job is always to just find the pathway for the least resistance, and also to give compassion to people who were born with certain things that were totally out of their control. For example, that client I told you about who tried to take her own life, her childhood was very difficult. She had many surgeries under the age of 5. That wasn't her fault. That just happened. And then her father died when she was 16. That wasn't her fault. These things are part of our learning curve, and a lot of times these patterns are there in the chart. We never know exactly how they're going to manifest, but it's very important for people to realize that a lot of the things that happen to us are not our fault. It's just weather. It's the way that we were designed, and we're supposed to keep trucking, keep moving on, and trying to elevate the gifts that we do have. And everyone's got gifts, George, everyone. It's just a lot of times regular humans can't see the gifts within their own families or within their own selves. That's why when I was 19, my mom sent me to an astrologer, and she said that I was highly creative. Well, guess what? Everyone in school told me that I had no creativity. So she said I was getting a late start at 19 because I had been so thoroughly squashed as a creative person. And she was 100% right. I've
Yep.
now published 20 children's books that I've written and illustrated.
Good for you. Your accuracy rate is around 95%. What makes you so high compared to other astrologers?
I think it's because I have a gift. I feel like I'm highly intuitive, and I think it's a lot like music in that you could have 20 musicians play one piece of music, and they'll all be a little bit different in terms of how they interpret that music. And some people are born with a natural gift to have the music sound better than anyone else. And I think with astrology, which I often equate with music, I think all of us are born with a musical score. I think that I just have this unusual ability to hear a person's piece of music, and I'm able to translate it. I think it's a psychic ability that I have that makes it much more potent when I'm actually doing a chart for somebody.
What makes some people, Leslie, luckier than other people?
So I have a belief that there are these things called golden aspects that were discovered by a group of astrologers called Magi astrologers. And what they did is they studied all the charts of super successful people, and they noticed that they had these very, very rare aspects. And they were connected with the planets Venus, Jupiter, Chiron, and Pluto. And I have, over the years, looked at these in charts trying to find them. They're rare. Only 1 in 10 people has one of them. And in my whole life of looking at charts, I've only met 3 or 4 people who have 3 or 4 of these golden aspects. But what's cool about them is that even if you're not born with one, you can get them through weather patterns, and you can also get them through meeting other people. For example, the Beatles, each of them individually don't have any golden aspects, but when you put them all together, they've got a whole bunch of them. And what they are doing basically is they're giving you an insurance policy on the chart that makes it easier for you to get to where you want to go. So I'm fascinated by these golden aspects. It's not something that I discovered, but I put it into practice, and definitely that is how astrology works. You see the pattern over and over again, and then you make note of that and you say, wow, that's pretty intense. I'll just keep looking for that with people, and the more confirmation you get, the more you realize that it's highly accurate. And I mean, it's so accurate, George, that when I look at someone's chart, I can tell oftentimes how they decorate their house. I definitely know what their mother and father was like. I can see whether or not there's alcoholism in the bloodline or depression. It's an extremely accurate esoteric science, and it's been around for thousands of years. And as I've told you before, the wise men who found baby Jesus, they were all astrologers. The word magi means astrologer. So there's been a definite attempt to put astrology into the realm of fortune telling, and that's not where I fall. There are lots of people who are very interested in knowing exactly what's going to happen coming down the road, and I'm interested in that as well. I like to look at the patterns coming, but I'm very, very aware of the fact that we have free will. And even with Mercury retrograde, we have to just do the best we can in every moment and realize that we're always under the influence of these different patterns and cycles and waves, and it helps so much, and it brings me so much peace to say, oh, no wonder I feel this way. Like this last full moon we had on May 5th, that was a real doozy for me, because it was hitting my chart in a more intense way. And once I know that, then it doesn't feel so painful.
How can astrology work with, in terms of your gut feeling? And by that I mean, let's assume you meet somebody and you get an initial impression on who they are, whether they're happy, negative, depressed, whatever it is. Will astrology back that up?
I think it would, definitely, and I think that people need to listen to that little inner voice and that intuition. I think that's probably one of the most accurate things that a human has. We all have an internal compass and a little meter. You know about somebody within literally 2 seconds. You can feel the energy. And even think about this, if there was a couple that was fighting in a house and screaming and yelling at each other, and then they left, and then you go in with a real estate agent and you go into the house right after there was this fight, I believe you would feel it if you're a sensitive person. The humans that were fighting are no longer there, but you can feel the energy. And I think as we're moving into this new world in our civilization, I think that the connection to that internal inner voice and that sense that we are never left without assistance, either from the spirit realm or from the internal compass that we have, I think we can navigate this time a lot better if we can be more in tune with these deeper rhythms that we have within our soul.
It's amazing the things that you've gone through and you've done in your career. I mean, you've been over 40 years. What do you, started when you were 2?
No, I started when I was a teenager, yeah. So I've been doing this for a while, and I became obsessed with astrology. And the astrologer at 19 literally told me that my brain was wired in such a way that if I didn't find something to go into deep rabbit holes with my brain, I would get very frustrated. And she said, astrology will be perfect for you, so get busy, start studying. And then she also said, get busy, start being creative, start drawing and writing. And I thought, oh my gosh, I would hide my drawings, George. I didn't want anyone to see them because I was always told I couldn't draw. I didn't want anyone to think that I had any talent. It was very interesting what she did for me, and it completely changed my life. And I'm now doing that for other people. I feel like I'm now hoping to get other students to carry on this lineage that that woman gave to me, and what a sacred gift that is to be able to share that. So my obsession now is to try to teach people how to read charts, and I figured out a way, probably because I write and illustrate children's books, and I know children have a very small and short attention span. I figured out a way to make astrology user-friendly, because here's the trick. When you look at astrology like music, and you think of astrology as like an instrument, how would you be able to learn how to play the guitar? You can't learn it from reading a book. It's not going to happen. In order to learn how to play the guitar, you literally have to pick it up and play it. And that's what I do with my students. I get them to play the game or the instrument of astrology. And I think that that's a very specific style of teaching that I don't know anyone else who's doing it quite the way that I am. And I believe that if I have someone studying with me for 8 hours, I can at least get them up and running to be able to look at a chart and know the basics of any human being that they meet. And boy, is that ever useful, George, because you need it for everything, whether you've got grandchildren or kids or you're hiring somebody or dating. I mean, think about the implications of knowing how to relate to everything in the world. To me, this is one of the greatest gifts on the planet, and most people don't really even know that it's there. They literally don't know, and most people have a negative idea about astrology. I was once teaching at Rancho La Puerta in Mexico, and I sat next to this guy who was a very famous sports agent, and he heard I was an astrologer, and he started to poo-poo it at the dinner table. And I said, why don't you just come to my talk? You might actually find it interesting. So he did, and afterwards he said, I have to admit, what you said was, I'm curious, but he said, I still don't believe in it. But when I got home, he called me up, George, and he had a reading, and when I was done, he said, wow, he said, I cannot believe you knew everything about my family, my life. He said, I want to be your new business manager. So he's been a good friend and a helper of mine, but he started off like
as a doubter.
A lot of people. He totally doubted it all, and I understand it, and I actually love working with people who are highly skeptical, because there's a good reason for being skeptical, because there's not much out there in the world of astrology being done the way that I do it, or the way that I think about it, or the way that I teach it. So I totally get it, and if I was them, I would probably feel the same way.
Leslie, tell us about your astrology school.
So it's called the Astrology Wisdom Academy, and it's done both online over Zoom, and also I do them in person a couple times a year at Rancho La Puerta in Mexico, where I've been teaching for almost 30 years now. And I